Born in 247 BCE in Carthage, a North African maritime power near modern Tunis, Hannibal Barca grew up amid the scars of defeat. His father, Hamilcar Barca, had commanded Carthaginian forces during the First Punic War against Rome, a war Carthage lost, surrendering Sicily and much of its navy. Carthage's defeat shaped the boy's world. His father belonged to the Barcid family, a military aristocracy convinced that Rome would one day return to destroy their city. Hamilcar trained his sons in the art of command. According to later accounts by Polybius and Livy, when Hannibal was about 9, his father brought him to the family altar before departing for Spain. There, he made the boy swear an oath, eternal hatred of Rome. That oath would define his life. After Carthage's humiliation, Hamilcar sought new wealth and strength for his nation in Iberia, modern Spain. Hannibal followed him there, absorbing languages, terrain, and warcraft. His tutors included not only soldiers, but philosophers, especially Greeks who introduced him to geometry, geography, and logic, all later reflected in his battlefield tactics. When Hamilcar died in battle around 229 BCE, command passed briefly to his son-in-law, Hasdrubal the Fair, and then in 221 BCE to Hannibal, barely 26 years old. Carthage's Senate confirmed him unanimously. A new generation had taken command, one that remembered the oath.
Hannibal's rule in Iberia began with consolidation. His capital was Carthage, today's Cartagena. He trained mixed armies of Carthaginians, Libyans, Numidian horsemen, and Iberian tribes, earning their loyalty through discipline and shared victories. His first major test came with Saguntum, a coastal city allied with Rome but south of the Ebro River, inside Carthage's sphere. When Saguntum defied him, Hannibal besieged and captured it after 8 months, 219 BCE. Rome demanded his surrender. The Carthaginian Senate hesitated, but Hannibal did not. The stage was set for the Second Punic War. He resolved to bring the war to Italy itself, something no foreign general had ever attempted. To do that, he would have to cross the Pyrenees, the Rhone, and the Alps with tens of thousands of men, horses, and war elephants. In the spring of 218 BCE, Hannibal marched north from Cartagena with an army of roughly 90,000 infantry, 12,000 cavalry, and 37 elephants. Many would not survive, but the audacity of the plan stunned the ancient world. Near the Rhone River, Roman scouts spotted him. He evaded them by using rafts to ferry elephants across. Then came the Alps, a month of freezing snow, rock slides, and ambushes by mountain tribes. Polybius records that fewer than half his men reached northern Italy alive. Yet those who did were tempered into an elite force. At the foot of the Alps, he looked south toward the Po Valley and said to his officers, "We have reached the walls of Rome not by sea, but by the mountains."
The Romans expected him to falter. Instead, in late 218 BCE, he annihilated their army at the Trebia River, luring them across icy waters into a hidden cavalry ambush. In the spring of 217 BCE, he crossed the Apennines and surprised another Roman force at Lake Trasimene. Using fog and terrain, he trapped them between the lake and the hills, killing over 15,000 Romans in what remains one of history's largest ambushes. Rome panicked. The Senate appointed Quintus Fabius Maximus dictator. Fabius avoided open battle, shadowing Hannibal and starving him of supplies, a strategy so cautious it earned him the nickname Cunctator, the delayer. But impatience soon returned to Rome's politics. In 216 BCE, 2 new consuls, Varro and Paulus, mustered the largest Roman army ever, about 86,000 men, and met Hannibal on the plains of Cannae in southern Italy. Hannibal arranged his forces in a crescent, light troops in front, veterans on the flanks. As the Romans advanced, his center slowly gave ground. When the crescent curved inward, his flanks closed like jaws. Numidian cavalry struck from behind. By nightfall, around 50,000 Romans lay dead, an entire generation of the Republic's youth. The victory at Cannae became a textbook in encirclement warfare. Even modern academies still teach it. Cities in southern Italy and many in Capua and Tarentum defected to him. Philip V of Macedon allied with Carthage, yet Rome refused to surrender. For nearly 15 years, Hannibal remained in Italy, moving through Apulia, Campania, and Bruttium, sustaining his army without reinforcements. He won more battles at Salaris and Herdonia, but his greatest obstacle was not the Romans before him, but the distance from home.
While Hannibal held Italy, Rome adapted. Generals like Publius Cornelius Scipio learned from his tactics, campaigning successfully in Spain. In 209 BCE, Scipio captured New Carthage. By 206 BCE, Carthaginian power in Iberia collapsed. The war shifted again. Scipio proposed to strike directly at North Africa, forcing Carthage to recall Hannibal. In 203 BCE, after 16 years abroad, he sailed home with his veterans and surviving elephants. The final confrontation came at Zama, west of Carthage, in 202 BCE. Hannibal commanded around 40,000 infantry, 4,000 cavalry, and 80 elephants. Scipio fielded similar numbers, but with superior Numidian cavalry under Massinissa, once Hannibal's ally. As the elephants charged, Roman trumpeters sounded, panicking the animals. Hannibal's first line broke. His veterans in the rear held firm, but Scipio's cavalry returned to strike from behind, the same tactic Hannibal had used at Cannae. The circle of fate closed. Carthage was defeated. Hannibal, now in his 40s, advised peace. Carthage accepted harsh terms, surrendering its fleet, paying vast tribute, and agreeing never again to wage war without Roman consent. But Hannibal's genius survived peace. As Suffete, chief magistrate of Carthage, he reformed finances, rooting out corruption and repaying Rome's indemnity ahead of schedule. His success alarmed conservative elites who accused him before the Romans. Forced into exile around 195 BCE, he wandered the eastern Mediterranean, first to Tyre, then Antioch, and finally Bithynia, offering counsel to Hellenistic kings who now faced Rome's expanding shadow. Even in exile, Rome feared him. Ambassadors demanded his surrender again and again.
In 183 BCE, cornered by Roman agents in Libyssa on the Sea of Marmara, Hannibal chose his own end. Taking poison, he said, "Let us free Rome from her long anxiety, since she thinks the death of an old man will relieve her fears." He was about 64 years old. Rome never forgot him. Centuries later, their historians wrote of him with reluctant admiration. Livy called him the greatest enemy Rome ever faced. Modern analysts view him as one of the finest tacticians who ever lived, a commander who understood geography, morale, psychology, and speed. He taught that war is not merely numbers, but movement, deception, and will. Even his opponents adopted his lessons. Zarmus' maneuver mirrored his double envelopment at Cannae. Napoleon studied him. So did Eisenhower and Patton. Hannibal's life became legend. The boy sworn to hate Rome, the general who crossed the Alps, the exile who died defiant yet undefeated in spirit.
In the ruins of Carthage today, little remains of the Barca household, but across military academies worldwide, his name endures. He was Hannibal Barca, the man who made the Republic tremble, and whose genius outlived the empire that destroyed him.